Assalamu Alaikum. Welcome back to Ammi Sabak, the channel where every story carries a lesson, every tear carries a truth, and every ending carries the mercy of Allah. Before I begin today's story, I need you to stop whatever you are doing. Put down your phone for a moment, take a breath, because what I am about to share with you today is not just a story, it is a mirror that will show you what betrayal looks like, what loneliness feels like, and what divine justice, the justice of Allah, truly means. Today's story is about a girl named Noor, a girl whose name means light, but whose world was about to go very, very dark. She fell in love, she trusted, she gave everything, and then the man she called her husband looked her in the eyes and said, "I never married you." Can you imagine? 6 months of marriage, 6 months of a shared life, 6 months of believing you were loved, protected, and secure, and then, in one cold sentence, it is all ripped away. But here is what the enemy of truth never counts on. Allah is Al-Adl, the perfectly just, and as it says in the Holy Quran, Surah An-Nisa, Ayah 135, "O you who have believed, be persistently standing firm in justice." Today, justice would stand firm, in the most unexpected way, through to dogs. Stay with me, viewers. Like this video right now, subscribe to Ammi Sabak, and hit that bell because this story will shake you to your core. Let us begin. In a small village nestled between green fields and dusty roads, lived a girl named Noor. She was 22 years old, simple, modest, the kind of girl who smiled at strangers and prayed before sleeping. Her mother had passed away when she was just a child, and her father, a humble farmer, had raised her with the two most precious things he had, deen and dignity. Noor was not rich. She did not have fancy clothes or jewelry, but she had something more valuable, a pure heart. And into her life walked Ahmad. Ahmad was 26. He worked in the city at a small trading company. When he came back to the village on weekends, he was charming, confident, well-dressed, and he had noticed Noor. They began speaking, first by chance at the market near the mosque, then, slowly, by choice. Ahmad was different from the other boys. He spoke of the future. He spoke of responsibility. He recited poetry. He said to Noor one afternoon, leaning against the old stone wall near her home, "Noor, I have never met anyone like you. You make me want to be a better man. A man worthy of someone like you." Noor replied shyly, "Ahmad, you shouldn't say such things unless you mean them," Ahmad said. "I mean every word. I want to marry you, Noor, properly. Officially, I want you to be my wife." Noor's heart soared. But then came the reality. When Ahmad approached his family, the doors slammed shut. His mother, a proud woman from a wealthier family, had other plans. She wanted Ahmad to marry the daughter of a rich businessman, a girl with land, with gold, with status. Noor, that poor farmer's daughter, his mother had scoffed. Absolutely not. Ahmad was caught between his heart and his household, and that is where the first mistake was made. Instead of being patient, instead of finding a proper solution, instead of trusting Allah's timing, Ahmad suggested the shortcut. He said quietly, "Noor, what if we go to the court? A court marriage? 2 witnesses, a Qazi. Everything will be legal and Islamic. No one can take that away from us." Noor hesitated. "But Ahmad, without our families, without my father's blessing," Ahmad replied, "Your father will understand, Noor. Once we are married, once he sees how happy you are, once he sees how I take care of you, everyone will accept us. I promise." And here, viewers, is the first lesson Ammi always taught me. Never rush a blessing. Shortcuts often become the longest roads. The Holy Quran reminds us in Surah Al-Baqarah Ayah 286, Allah does not burden a soul beyond that it can bear. There was a way. There was always a way through patience and trust in Allah. But Noor was young and Ahmad was persuasive. So they went to the court. On a Tuesday morning, dressed modestly, hearts beating fast, Noor and Ahmad arrived at the court. 2 witnesses stood by their sides, old family friends of Ahmad who had agreed to help. The Qazi, a learned, gray-bearded man, sat behind his desk with the seriousness of a man who understood the weight of what he was presiding over. He looked at them both carefully before beginning. The Qazi said solemnly, "Marriage is not merely a legal contract, it is an aqd, a solemn covenant. It is mentioned in the Quran as a mithaqan galiza, a weighty, sacred bond. Are you both entering this freely, without compulsion?" Noor and Ahmad answered together, "Yes." The nikah was read, the kabul. The acceptance was given 3 times. Signatures were placed on official documents. Photographs were taken. And just like that, Noor and Ahmad were husband and wife. Noor looked at her certificate and felt something she hadn't felt in years. "Safe," she whispered. "Ahmad, we did it. We're really married." Ahmad squeezed her hand and said, "Yes, and I will never let anyone separate us. You are mine, Noor, forever." For 6 months they lived as husband and wife. Noor moved into Ahmad's city apartment. She cooked for him. She prayed for him. She made that small flat feel like a home. She named his 2 dogs Tommy and Sharu, and she fed them every morning and every evening. They slept at her feet. They followed her everywhere. She watered the plant by the window. She folded his shirts. She stayed up waiting when he worked late. She gave that man her whole world. But then, the in-laws arrived. It was a Friday evening when Ahmad's parents showed up unannounced at the apartment. His mother swept her eyes across the room like a queen surveying conquered territory. She looked at Noor standing there in her simple house dress, flowers still on her hands from making roti, and she turned away in visible disgust. Ahmad's mother said coldly, "Ahmad." Outside now, the argument lasted an hour. Noor could hear pieces through the thin walls. "She is nobody. You are throwing your future away. The Malik family's daughter is still available, educated, rich, beautiful. You end this now, or you are no son of mine." Silence, then footsteps. Ahmad walked back inside, and Noor, who loved him, immediately knew. She could see it in the way he wouldn't meet her eyes. Noor asked softly, "Ahmad, what happened? What did she say?" There was a long pause. Ahmad stared at the floor. Then he spoke cold, emotionless, like a stranger. "Noor, I need you to leave." Noor was confused. "What?" Ahmad said, "This was a mistake. I never really married you. That court thing, it meant nothing. I was confused. I'm sorry, but you need to go." Noor's voice broke. "Ahmad, what are you saying? There were witnesses. There is a certificate. We have been living as husband and wife for 6 months." Ahmad turned away. "I will deny all of it. There is nothing you can do. Just go. Noor, please, just go." Viewers, I want you to sit with that moment. Can you feel it? 6 months of prayers, of cooking, of waiting up at night, of learning to love someone's home. Their habits, their dogs shattered. In 30 seconds, by a man who chose his inheritance over his wife. This is the cruelty that happens in silence, behind closed doors. 2 women who have no one powerful standing behind them. But the Quran tells us, Surah Al-Imran Ayah 140, and these days we alternate them among the people so that Allah may make evident those who believe. And Allah does not like the wrongdoers. The days of the wrongdoer are numbered, and Noor weeping, shaking, clutching her marriage certificate like it was the last rope above a cliff. She went to court. The Qazi who presided over the court was a man named Qazi Haroon. He was 60 years old, white beard, quiet eyes, the kind of man who had seen every human drama, every lie, every manipulation, and could smell deception before it opened its mouth. Noor walked in alone. No lawyer, no family, just her certificate, her witnesses' statements, and her faith. Ahmad walked in with his father and a hired lawyer. Qazi Haroon began, "We are here regarding the matter of the Nikah contract between Noor and Ahmad. The wife claims the marriage is valid. The husband denies its existence. Let us begin." Ahmad's lawyer spoke confidently. "Your Honor, my client categorically denies any valid marriage took place. The so-called contract was made under duress and confusion." Noor stood up, trembling but firm. "I was not manipulating anyone. There were 2 witnesses. The Qazi himself performed the nikah. I have the signed certificate right here." Qazi Haroon raised his hand calmly. "Noor, Betty, sit. You will have your turn." He turned to Ahmad. "Ahmad, you are sitting in a court of law, before witnesses, before Allah. You are denying this nikah." Ahmad's jaw was tight. "Yes, I deny it." Qazi Haroon said nothing for a long moment. He simply looked at Ahmad, the way a man looks at someone who has already condemned themselves. Then he did something that surprised everyone in the room. He folded his hands, leaned back, and said, "Ahmad, you have 2 dogs. Yes, at your apartment?" Confused murmurs filled the room. Ahmad's lawyer was bewildered. "Your Honor, what does this have to do with Qazi?" Haroon said firmly. "Bring the dogs to the court tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. Viewers, the entire room went silent. "Bring the dogs to court." Ahmad's lawyer was baffled. Ahmad was confused. Even Noor didn't understand, but Qazi Haroon just smiled quietly and closed his notebook. He had seen this kind of case before, and he already knew exactly what was going to happen. Comment right now. Can you guess what Qazi Haroon's plan is? Let me know below. The next morning, the courtroom was more crowded than usual. Word had spread. People had come to see what on earth the Qazi was planning. Ahmad's family sat on one side, tight-faced and suspicious. Noor sat alone on the other side, hands folded in her lap, lips moving slightly, making dua. And then the doors opened. 2 dogs walked in, Tommy and Sharu. Qazi Haroon called for order. This is still a court of law. He turned to Noor. "Noor, Betty, go to the dogs. Call them the way you called them at home, the way you always did." Noor looked uncertain, but she stood up. She walked slowly toward Tommy and Sharu, and the moment they saw her, Tommy's tail became a blur. Sharu let out a short, sharp bark of pure recognition and pressed his nose into her hand. Both dogs practically fell over each other trying to get to her, licking her hands, circling her feet, whining with a joy that needed no translation. Noor knelt down, her voice cracking with emotion. "Tommy, Sharu, come here, my babies." The dogs crawled into her lap. Sharu put his head on her knee and looked up at her with those big, honest eyes. Tommy pressed against her side like a shadow that had been separated from its owner far too long. The gallery was completely silent, and Qazi Harun slowly turned to face the court. He spoke quietly, powerfully. "Look at this. Dogs are among the most loyal creatures Allah has placed on this earth. They do not understand politics. They do not understand lawyers or denials or inheritance. They do not know what a lie is. They know only one thing: who fed them, who loved them, who was home." He paused, his eyes on Ammi. If Noor was merely an outsider, a stranger who visited occasionally, these animals would be indifferent, suspicious, perhaps even aggressive. But look at them. They are not greeting a guest. Noor lived in that home. She was its caretaker, its heart. She was, without question, that man's wife. The gallery erupted. Ahmad's lawyer had nothing. Ahmad's father stared at the floor, and Ahmad himself, the man who had looked Noor in the eyes and said, "I never married you," sat there with his head bowed, because even animals had testified to a truth he tried to bury. The Quran says in Surah Al-Zalzala ayat 7 and 8, "So whoever does an atom's weight of good will see it, and whoever does an atom's weight of evil will see it." Not an atom was hidden from Allah, not even the wagging of a dog's tail. Qazi Harun straightened his papers. He looked at both parties, and he delivered his verdict. This court finds that the nikah contract between Noor and Ahmad is valid, legally and Islamically binding. The documentation is sound, the witnesses are credible, and the evidence presented today confirms cohabitation as husband and wife. Ahmad, you will acknowledge this marriage publicly, fulfill your obligations as a husband under Islamic law, or face the full legal consequences of denying a documented contract and abandoning your wife. This court does not look kindly upon those who use a woman's trust as a stepping stone and then discard her when convenience demands it. The case is decided. Justice is served. Ahmad stood up, and for the first time since that terrible evening in the apartment, he looked at Noor. He said, broken and ashamed, "Noor, I am sorry. I was a coward. I chose the wrong thing. I am so sorry." Whether their marriage survived after that day, whether Noor chose to forgive or choose herself, that is a chapter only she could write. But what happened in that courtroom? That chapter was written by truth. My dear viewers, Ammi's lesson today is this: do not be afraid of being alone with your truth. The world may deny you. The powerful may overpower you. The ones you loved most may betray you. But Allah sees everything. He sees your tears at 2 a.m. He sees your prayers when no one else is watching. He sees your patience when you feel like you are drowning. The Quran says in Surah Ashar, ayat 5 and 6, "For indeed, with hardship will be ease." Indeed, with hardship will be ease. He said it twice, because he meant it twice. Your ease is coming. Your truth will be heard. Even if by the mercy of Allah it is spoken through the wagging tail of a dog. If this story touched your heart today, please like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Sabak with the bell on so every new lesson finds its way to you. Leave a comment below. Truth always wins if you believe it, because I do, and so does Ammi. Until next time, my beloved viewers, Allah Hafiz, stay true, stay patient, stay blessed.